My name is Ellie, and I grew up in a small town in the UK. When I was little, my parents were often busy with work, and I was entrusted to the care of our neighbour, Aunt Lynn. Aunt Lynn was tall, with beautiful brown curly hair, and a smile that made her eyes squint warmly. She was a crucial part of my childhood, not only as a caretaker, but also as my first teacher. Aunt Lynn was well-read and knowledgeable. She would tell me fascinating stories about the world, and teach me how to paint and read. Under her guidance, I became curious and eager to explore the world. As I grew older, my reliance on Aunt Lynn deepened. However, when I turned 15, our peaceful life was disrupted. One day, Aunt Lynn suddenly became very anxious. She was making calls behind my back, her face filled with worry. I was curious, but didn't dare ask her about it. Soon, a few unfamiliar visitors arrived at our house, and Aunt Lynn had a long private conversation with them. Later, she told me that she had to go away to take care of a sick relative, and would be gone for a long time. Though I was reluctant to let her go, I had no choice but to accept it. After Aunt Lynn left, I often thought of her and tried to contact her, but I never received a response. Days turned into months, and I grew older, went to university, and moved to the big city. At university, I met a guy named Tom. He was witty and humorous, and we quickly became good friends. One day, in a casual conversation, Tom mentioned that a distant relative of his had lived in my hometown, and her name was Lynn. I was shocked and immediately asked him about Aunt Lynn. Tom seemed uncomfortable and reluctant to say much. After much prodding, Tom finally revealed the truth. It turned out that Aunt Lynn had been involved in a financial scam. She had collaborated with criminals and used her social connections to defraud others. After the scheme was uncovered, she fled the town to avoid legal consequences. I couldn't believe it. The gentle, kind Aunt Lynn, who had guided me through my childhood, had done such a thing. I decided to investigate further and uncover the truth. After a lot of effort, I found the police officer who had handled the case. He told me that Aunt Lynn had actually been manipulated by the true masterminds. She had not known what was happening at first, but when she discovered the truth, she tried to back out, only to be threatened. To protect me and the people of the town, she chose to take the consequences on her own and leave. My heart was filled with mixed emotions. I both sympathized with her and felt a deep sense of sadness for what had happened to her. I searched for Aunt Lynn and eventually found out that she was living in a remote village. I immediately went to find her. When I saw Aunt Lynn, she was no longer the vibrant woman I remembered. Time had left deep marks on her face. She looked at me with surprise and guilt in her eyes. I hugged her tightly and told her that I knew everything, and that I didn't blame her. I thought we could rekindle our old bond, but just then, Tom suddenly showed up. He told me that his family had suffered greatly due to Aunt Lynn's actions years ago, and he had been approaching me for revenge. He threatened me, saying that if I didn't help him get the key evidence from Aunt Lynn about the case, he would make sure she faced trouble again. I looked at Tom, now a stranger to me, and felt a mix of anger and despair. I only wanted to find the warmth we once shared, yet here I was, caught in such a complex and tragic situation. How could I protect Aunt Lynn while escaping Tom's manipulation and restore everything to its rightful place?